Thank you very much to both our colleagues in the academy, two young professors have been elected to our academy in the last years. And for me, that's a great pleasure to assist to these two conferences because I know these two persons. One of them from the time he was a child, the other from the time he was a young student at our university. Thank you, thank you. Now we will pass quickly to our ladies, our young ladies that will present the panel of young scientists in Europe. And then I will ask to Professor Margarida wants to present his views about the challenge, demands, and perspectives for young scientists in Europe.
Okay, so first I would like to thank the Academy of Science of Lisbon and also ALLEA for giving me the opportunity to talk about the conditions for early career scientists in Europe, in particular the case of Portugal. So first I'm going to talk about my lines of research and its putative impact, then the challenge, demands and perspectives for early career scientists, and finally the Portuguese scenario. So in my case, I'm working with the grapevine, so I'm conducting a market-driven research in response to the need for a wine industry relying on scientific knowledge. We know, according to the wine producers, that the main constraints in wine industry are the irregular ripening that is observed among berries of the same cluster and among seasons, and also the high costs resulting from disease management and yield losses due to pathogenic fungi diseases. So therefore, we are interested in identifying the genes responsible for the control of grape ripening, as well as the genes involved in resistance to fungal diseases that can eventually be used in future breeding programs or alternatively by using biotechnological approaches. And we believe that this research, by addressing these issues, will contribute to food security and agriculture sustainability, mainly by reducing the use of agrochemicals and by improving the productivity and quality of grapes and wine, which is a major agricultural product in the case of Portugal. So the lines of research, the first line we are dealing with is the identification of regulatory or structural genes controlling grape development and ripening as a way to improve grape quality traits. We are interested in the transcription factors that are responsible for the onset of grape ripening. We are interested in the control, the hormonal control of grape ripening. In particular, we've done work on polyamine metabolism. And we are also doing some research on how the terroir affects the secondary metabolism and the grape quality. The second line of research is, as I previously said, understanding biotic stress response in wine grape, together with the investigation of the promoters of the genes involved in resistance. So we are studying the response of both resistant and susceptible cultivars. In particular, pay attention in transcription factors and resistant genes. We also want to know how wine quality is affected by fungal infection, the pathogens that we have been studying in more detail are Botrytis cinerea and more recently powdery mildew. And we are also interested in the molecular and metabolic markers of the infection. The approaches that we have been following are mainly transcriptomics and metabolomics. In certain cases, we also use targeted metabolic profiling. We also use transgenic approaches in fruit agroinfection and enzymatic studies. For all these studies, we also collaborate. We have also very good collaborations with researchers in Germany, Holland, and also in Spain. So now I go through the second topic, which is the perspectives for the early career scientists in Europe. And then recently I read an article that was published in Nature that talks about these issues, and it really reflects what I think. And so the main concluding aspects of this paper were that not all the research is making into high-profile journals, so very difficult to apply for few places in academia. Especially in my case, when you are working with crops, it's very difficult to make it into science or nature. That doesn't mean that this research shouldn't be also considered. Researchers end up trapped as permadocs, this author called it, doing multiple postdoc terms, staying in these positions for many years with insecurity and few benefits. Actually, in Portugal, the postdocs cannot even apply. It doesn't count for to have a subsidy when they retired. Enforcing a rule that researchers could hold a postdoc for a maximum of 5 years. Actually, this was the option, the recent option of FCT. We just knew that people who have received a postdoc fellowship can no longer apply for another postdoc fellowship to FCT. But what are the options for these people? And this was something that I had that was not in the article, that actually postdocs constitute a main driving force in the labs. Some can eventually be promoted to auxiliary or assistant researcher, but with a definite limit. We have some applications that do not occur every year. It's likely that it will not occur this year in Portugal for 5-year contracts, but it's not clear that these people will have these contracts renovated even if they produce high-quality research. Postdocs are too expensive to be funded from research grants, so when government funding disappears, so many postdoc spots will also. Solution may be that planning has to start in graduate school. I totally agree with this. I don't see any point of forming so many students as we still do and have no perspectives or very few perspectives for them within Portugal. Ensure that the most talented in their own areas are always funded, and for this create more staff scientists positions. So the main challenge and demands, in particular in Portugal, are the lack of regular funding, both for research and human resources. It's very difficult for someone that has a research group be able to have always funding for all the people that are working with. Lack of a strong connection between the private sector and academia. Actually, we saw here already some examples of a good connection, but it's the impression that I have when it comes to agriculture products. Lack of stability, which is time-consuming for researchers. It's difficult to consolidate a research group, and it's also difficult to engage in long-lasting but highly innovative projects due to constant demands for high productivity. So in face of these, as perspectives for early career scientists in Portugal, I think I said it already, we really don't know. And my opinion is that, and is an opinion that is shared with many researchers, is that we are wasting valuable and highly qualified resources with these strategies, governmental strategies, that have already immigrated. I know several cases of people very talented that have already immigrated. And these are dooming the country to a serious delay in scientific progress and loss of previous investment that was carried out. And as other researchers have done here already, and in the context of what I just said, I would like to pay a tribute to our former Minister of Science and Technology that had an impressive vision and made considerable efforts for the progress of science and technology in Portugal. So I would like to thank you all for your attention.